Go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am in a spot in my office where the sun is beating down on me. At the moment, it looks like I'm being spotlighted, but I think the shadows are going to change. This is the monthly meetup that I do. We are alternating. Some months we're doing in person. Last month we were in Ward 8 at the Busboys and Poets. And next month, I don't know that we've picked a spot yet, but it'll probably be live this month, obviously virtual. And so I want to welcome you all. We've gotten some questions ahead of time, and I'm going to go through those. And then if there are additional questions, folks can submit them. Lindsay, could you say how folks can submit?
They can ask in the live chats on Facebook or YouTube. They can send them through our social media on Twitter and X.
Or you
Or
can
email
send-
Chairman CS.
You can email Chairman CSA.
CS.
Let me start over again. You can email Chairman CS at dccouncil.gov. You can submit questions via social media, meaning Twitter or X. What's the handle?
CHMN Mendelson.
CHMN Mendelson. I didn't say that very well. And then Facebook, the chat in Facebook and YouTube. Questions? All right, these are the questions I was given. And I'll read them the way I was given them. The first three deal with crime. Seems like a lot of finger pointing when it comes to who is not supporting police in terms of funding and staffing. Don't you approve the budget? Answer. I don't know that there's a lot of finger pointing other than that Republican members of Congress have been claiming that the council has been cutting the police department's budget. The fact is that this year we fully funded the mayor's request, which, as far as I know, reflected what MPD said they wanted or needed. And last year we funded all of the MPD request or the mayor's request for MPD, except for take-home cars. So we're funding what they're requesting. And at this point, the council, which is different than the council a few years ago, is looking for ways to be supportive of the police. The staffing is a challenge because across the country, people are not applying to be police officers. We have budgeted for hiring, but there are not the applicants. I talked with the chief about this last week. The class sizes, they get a new class every month. And if I remember correctly, the classes at the police academy are about, I'm going to say 7 or 8 months long. And the class sizes were averaging somewhere around 10 to 15. In the last couple of months, they've been more like 15 to 20. Their capacity is 30 a month, and we have funded that. So that's the challenge with staffing. And as I said, I think the issue with funding is that the Republican members of Congress have been harping on the fact that in 2020, right after the murder of George Floyd, the council did cut the MPD budget by less than 1%. It was, I think, about a $9 or $10 million cut, but that was 3 years ago. Next question, and I'm happy to answer any follow-ups here. Is anyone on the council talking to counterparts in other big cities where crime is falling? Crime is down 24% in Los Angeles, 19% in Houston, 18% in Philadelphia, 12% in Chicago, and 11% in New York City. Are there any ideas we can use in DC? Well, our Judiciary Committee, chaired by Councilmember Pinto, is looking more broadly at the issue of why crime is going up here and why it is falling in some other cities. The question, no cities where it's fallen, but there are a few cities around the country where crime has gone up. but generally we seem to be an outlier. I have been curious about that. As best I can tell, other than quality of work, which is difficult to objectively measure, and I don't know that the quality is different here or worse here, but perhaps. And quality is one of those things that you can't legislate. It really comes down to who's the chief, and above the chief, who is the mayor, and what kind of morale or practices they're instilling in the department. The one distinctive feature is that unlike Los Angeles, Houston, Philadelphia, Chicago, or New York City, the criminal justice system in the District of Columbia is split between two governments. That is a distinguishing feature. Our arrests are by MPD, local. Folks, when they're arrested, if they're held pending trial, they are put in the jail. That is a DC government agency. But the prosecution and the decision whether to prosecute or decline prosecution is by the U.S. Attorney. U.S. Attorney a few months ago had a declination rate of about 2/3. And then if the courts who don't answer directly to the district, they're federally funded, even though they're District of Columbia courts,